Hello, good evening, and welcome to one of our off-track small talk episodes. Tonight, I'm going to be chatting to a driver who's soon to make his debut in BriSCA Formula 1 stock cars, 100, James Smith. Evening, James. Thank you very much for doing this.
No trouble at all. Thank you for the invite.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure. So as part of that introduction, I referenced the number that you'll be racing under. And for those who've been around the sport for a while, it's certainly one that has significance, doesn't it?
It is for me, yeah, definitely. It's deep.
So why is that? Do you want to explain, just in case people don't know?
Well, my dad was Harry Smith, and his number 100 was quite a well-known number throughout the sport as a red top racer, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I've never had the opportunity or the funds to sort of crack on and do it.
Yeah.
I nearly didn't get his number. I was speaking to Sophie last week, and when I to chase up my BriSCA license, and she didn't really realise who I was. She says, "You can't have number 100; it's gone." So I was quite shocked about that, but it come through in the end, and she realised they were Harry's son. So
yeah. Did you not go? Do you know who I am? Were you not?
yeah, well, no, I want. She should have looked at me second name. That's what she said. Because I'm really sorry.
So you mentioned your dad, and obviously, like you said, he was a really popular driver in the sport. People enjoy his no-nonsense approach to racing. Do you have any memories of his time in stock cars?
I have a lot of memories, mainly off track. A lot of late nights working on the car, swearing and thumping hammers about in an old. Used to sell a lot of stone. Did my dad like a stone fireplace workshop where we used to work on car? Yeah, it's. I do have memories on the side of the track as well, but I was only 8-year-old, so it's quite a long time to remember back.
Yeah, of course. But as a child growing up around the sport, it must have been a fantastic environment to be in.
Oh, it is for any child, isn't it? That thumping sound goes through your chest, doesn't it? I mean, it was something to look forward to on a weekend, certainly. Well, yeah.
Okay, so in terms of sort of Harry, so 1990 was the last time he raced. He won the final at Hednesford in May of that year. So 31 years later, you're making your entry into the sport. So what's been your motivation to come into BriSCA Formula 1?
My mum's a lot of motivation. She lives her stock car years with us, some of the best years of her life, and she always reminisces. And I've always wanted to do it. I've just never been able to fund it. And when it comes to my dad, I mean, my dad was quite successful business-wise as well, and that's been the most part of my drive. And now I've got my business, somewhat similar. Now I can afford to race stock cars, so I've decided now's the time. And yeah.
And have you kept in touch with the sport sort of over the years?
I'll be totally honest. No, I haven't. I've had some really busy, hard working. The last decade, I've done nothing but work really to get to where we are now. So no, I haven't. Only what I watch of you guys, what I watch online. I think the last meeting I went to was Coventry, which will tell you how long ago that was.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know who John Lund is, though, don't you? So that's the important thing.
I'm actually going to John Lund's farm on Thursday.
So you can't name drop now. You can't do stuff like that.
Well, it's not John. It's his mechanic Stevens invited us over to show us how to prep tyres, which is fantastic.
Brilliant. That's lovely. That's very kind. So in terms of you sort of mentioned that you've not really done anything with Formula 1 in terms of watching recently. It's a big commitment to come in and race Formula 1. Have you done any other racing at all?
I've never raced in stock cars whatsoever. I've raced Land Rovers. I did a lot of enduro when I was a bit younger, but never stock cars, simply because I've never been able to remotely afford to do it. I have had opportunity to hire cars, but it's not something. Anyone that knows me, I'm very much like my dad. If I do something, I like to do it all the way. And to hire a car for a race, I didn't see it. I wanted to wait until I could afford to actually do it myself.
Yeah. No, absolutely, that makes sense. So tonight we're going to reveal your fully refurbished shale car for the remainder of the 2021 season. What is the history of the car you've got, and I guess how much of a refurb have you had to do on it?
The refurb, I mean, I bought the car from Austin Moore, and the car was in really good nick, and he really looked after me. We've had to pull the engine out and helicoils from bell housing bolts out, and just pretty standard run-of-the-mill bearings, bushers. Some adjustments for me, my seat, obviously, the steering column, just so I can fit in the car how I want to fit in the car. We've totally, the car started off, I wanted it to be like my dad's car.
Yeah.
So we got the car fully shot blasted, and I've painted it in the proper David Brown power red that my dad used, and a Scania white, which hadn't turned out like that because when we got it signed written, I didn't realise it were a wrap. So a lot of the Scania white that my dad had has been covered over. which, as it turns out, the car now, I mean, I'm not that bothered because I didn't want it to be an identical copy of my dad's car, because obviously I'm not my dad, and it's some big boots to fill that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The car did belong to Gary Townsend, but I bought it off Austin Moore. Like I say, he's absolutely, what a gentleman, looked after us, give us loads of space to, you know, get us into the sport, really.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. And you're sort of saying you've not really had much to do with stock cars. You've mentioned it going up to John London's, but to have a stock car and to refurbish it, you know, have you started advice and guidance from sort of the names within the sport to help you get to where you are now?
Since, I mean, believe it wasn't me that did like the first sort of post, but my mum posted online on the stock car forum that I was getting a stock car, and posted some pictures. And the people that's come forward to talk to us, we've had Mark Gilbank, Stephen Lawrence, an old driver, Gareth Wood from 90s. Is a good friend of mine who's making a return next year as well. Ian Bannister, the photographer, he's been absolutely no end of help. Robert and Roger Mitchell, Simon Gill, another old name. And even I was talking to Jane Bean last night, who were giving us advice on driving. Yeah, loads of people.
Yeah, which is brilliant though. And I think a lot of people talk about stock cars as being, you know, when you're in the pits, like everybody will help you. And I think you're already sort of starting to see that already.
100% why we want to be part of it, because I think it's a motorsport like no other, where everybody's sort of like a family and everyone's there to help, and it's fantastic, really. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so we've spoken about the car. You've touched upon it. So I guess, James, now is the time over to you to reveal your car for the 2021 season.
Here's my shale car, hoping to make a debut, BriSCA license depending, on the 13th Odsel. Failing that, it will be the 27th Odsel.
Any sponsors, anything you want to thank? Anybody you want to thank?
You know, we're not sponsored. We're totally self-funding, but I do want to thank all my lads at work because they're all part of what we're doing, which is another reason why we picked to do this sport. It's something we can do as a business, you know. My former mechanic, Tom, is very enthusiastic about getting stuck in. He's been doing a lot of research on maintenance at cars, tyre prep, setups. You know, he's really keen to get stuck in. So I just want to thank my work lads, really.
Yeah, brilliant. James, the car does look absolutely fantastic, and you know, like the signwriting that you mentioned, it does look brilliant. Were you quite prescriptive of what you wanted the car to look like in terms of when the signwriter came?
I did. I wanted it to resemble my dad's car, but I wanted it to be my car because, again, I'm not my dad, and I don't even remotely want to try fill his boots. I couldn't, but it has turned out quite different to how I did see it. It's a lot more red, and I'm lucky that my business we have some great guys that wanted to put their names on the car, like Stobarts. I mean, I'm pretty in a lucky position to do that, I think.
Yeah,
it's nice to get their names on there, you know.
Yeah, of course, of course. So you kind of say you don't want to fill your dad's boots, but have you set yourselves any targets or aspirations for what we've got left of the 21 season?
I just want to get stuck in this year, just see how it goes, and then I want to make a full go of it next year. I'm very much like my dad. If I do something, I'd do it. So it's just a case of getting used to the car this season, and I'm not going to vanish after Christmas. Next season, I'm going to really be stuck into it, you know.
Yeah. So in terms of you know, shale car, have you got any plans to look at tarmac as well, or is it just actually going to stick to shale?
I have plans. I want to stick with shale for the time being. I've got a lot of interest in shale. I like the style of driving. Tarmac, I will do eventually, but again, it's also funds depending because I'm totally self-funding. So it's expensive to run one car, never mind two, you know.
Yeah, but I think looking at in terms of this season, certainly the fixture list was very shale heavy. You know, and you've got Bradford, you've got Sheffield, obviously your accent dictates you up north, and you know you've got kind of a lot of places you can race just by shale, haven't you?
Yeah, and we've been practicing yard. So my yard's quite a big yard, so we've been flying around yard.
That would be my question. Yeah, you're practicing anywhere, but just the yard then, yeah.
Just the yard, yeah. That's all I've ever raced in is my yard.
Brilliant. So what's the one thing you're looking forward to most about getting out on track?
Believe it or not, I'm not looking. I say I'm not looking forward. The most thing I'm looking forward to is just the atmosphere and the people that are involved in the sport. And I'm looking forward to being in the pits with everybody as much as being out on the track, just to be part of it. Really, I've been waiting a long time to be able to do this. So I'm looking forward to every aspect, you know.
And do you think you're going to have a bit of pressure on your shoulders? You know, because when people know, I guess your history, your family history.
The position I'm in work-wise, I live daily with pressure on my shoulders. So I'm not going to lie. Yeah, there will be some pressure there, but I'm just going to be me, and I think I'll be fine with it. I'm used to dealing with being under pressure, you know.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good way to look at it.
I've had some mixed advice. You know, I've got people. Believe it or not, this come from Jane Bean's mouth. She told me to take it steady. You know, hard driver like Jane Bean, but I haven't got that in me. I'm not going to do my first race and sort of take it steady. I'd like to drop into the middle somewhere and then pick up the lines, and I just want to give it some, you know, bumper to bumper and get stuck in. I'm not going to be totally round edge. I'd rather smash the car up for second lap than just totally round edge for the entire heat, you know.
So you're not nervous at all? I mean, I guess you maybe.
Oh yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, but I think I'm more excited than nervous.
Yeah, because there are these big, noisy, scary things.
Well, no, that side of it don't really. It's my life. We're every plant engineers. I work around big scary machines every day that allow, you know, stock cars in a way is a little bit smaller. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Brilliant. And I guess my last question is, obviously, you know, you can't do stock car racing on your own. I guess you've got quite a bit of support behind you. You know, you mentioned your mum, but there must be quite a bit of, you know, goodwill to get you in and get you racing.
Yeah, it's good. My mum's a lot of it, really. She just had the rip done as well. She did try climbing in my stock car about, I don't know, 4 weeks ago, because I believe my mum did a little bit of racing at one time in the 80s. And yeah, she couldn't get in because of her hip, so I think she's looking forward to getting inside the car herself.
Brilliant. James, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you this evening. Good luck on your debut at Bradford. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest in you and the car. And thank you for taking time out tonight to talk to us when, you know, clearly you work with a great advertising behind you. So I like that. Well done.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Cheers, James. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye. There you have it.
Perfect.